analysis video. So in this one, as you can see, the center back starting with the ball right now. So let's watch the sequence quick. So hold him in, try to find the other hold him in. Winger plays the ball to the center, play the outside back against the winger, and we lose the ball in there. Right? Okay. So now there's a couple of things that we could have avoided in this play, and we didn't. And we'll see which was what they are, right? So in this one, right, my holding me gets the ball. Other holding me should be aware of the space. And now clearly, if you check her right shoulder and left shoulder, she should have start backing up on the space over here, right? First of all, creating space for herself. Second, creating space for the attacking me that should be coming in, right? But instead, my defensive mid, look, she's getting even closer to where the other defender is, and I know she has no idea of where that defender is. Okay, that's what happens, right? So then when she gets the ball, okay, look what happened in that one, right? We lose the ball on that one. Then winger gets the ball, plays the outside back. Now as the winger plays the outside back, notice something, okay? Winger plays the outside back and jogs, right? Winger plays the outside back. The first thing that my winger has to do is support on the line, creating a bigger gap between the defender and herself. Now my outside back has all the time in the world right now, and instead of playing it back into pressure, because that's where the ball is coming from right now. If you notice, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defenders on the same side. How about we switch it to the center? Center back, first of all, center back should be going back all the way over here, creating a bigger gap between this guy and her. And my outside back, instead of focusing on the direct play, just play it back to center back switches it to the outside back, and look now. If we would have done that, look at the winger now with a ton of space by herself, right? Instead, we decided to force that play forward into the winger. Winger takes a bad touch. Clearly, we win the ball again. Now, again, with no pressure, where we could have gone back again, we kick the ball forward, and then we don't get anything out of it, right? Then we get a throw in just because we got lucky, right? So that's that play. Now let's go on to a good attack, right? A good play. So now let's see on this one, right? And this one is actually good, and I want you to see something. Okay, that's a throw-in. Ball is over here with my winger, as you can see. Winger gets a ball, plays the center attacking mid, turns, plays the outside back this time, plays the winger again. Winger plays the striker, strikers find the other striker on the wing. She chops it back, finds the pass to the striker with a lot of space, and we finish the play. Okay, so now believe it or not, this is a great attack, and a lot of things happening here that instead of being accidental, we should be able to make these things happen because we want them to happen, right? So now the first thing, and the kind of the good thing over here, it's one thing that we could have done better in this one is attacking me is getting in the space, but look at my holding me, right? She has pressure, she has no idea what pressure is, so she would never be able to get that ball. Holding me should be checking out wide here, okay? Making sure that if the defender wants to follow her, defender follows her wide, that way the attacking me has more space to receive that ball and make a play, right? So positioning for my center defensive mid. Attacking me gets a ball in space, okay? Plays it back to the outside back. As the ball is going back to the outside back, notice something, okay? If my center defensive mid checks her right shoulder, her left shoulder, she would have found out that the space was behind her. So she should have just backed up in here, making sure she was in a space where she could have received the ball, right? Instead, yeah, she checks her shoulder, but notice that she decides to stand in the same space where she was, right? So now, think about this. My holding mid on this one, right? Being picky on my holding because I want my holding to understand this. She gets a ball goes forward, she starts jogging to where the defender is, instead of just standing in the space. Right now, my winger gets the ball. So now this one, notice where the outside back coming from, right? It's coming from. She's marking the space on the wing, leaving the space in the middle open, right? Now the other thing is, Well, that could have been a better play. She plays the ball, but she misses the pass, finding the other striker. Now, this is a great run by the striker because in this play you have two options, right? One is play the striker in the space so she can go to goal, or play the other striker and the striker can one touch it into the space. That way, that guy can still go to goal, right? So those could have been but this happened by accident, though, right? Happened by accident, and then the striker plays a good one touch into the space, right? Now the great thing about this, right? It's that center back is pulled out, and now my other striker is open. Bad thing about this, my winger just starts to walk, right? My winger over here, she should be able to support right away because she doesn't have any way to go forward on that one. It's just getting closed down, so you know that she's gonna chop it back. So I need my winger supporting here, my striker. Okay, she should be coming in the space where she was, right? It's actually it happened by accident, right? So, but I want you guys to know what we could have done in here better, right? And now my center attacking mid, since she's too far away from the play, that's where my holding mid now gets involved by coming in. Now look at the triangle we formed. Okay, and now this player over here has support left, support right, and support middle, right? But this time it's backwards, right? So now let's see what happened with the play. She chops it back. Look, my winger still walking instead of supporting, right? And now this defender has to choose between the winger and the other striker in the space. This is a great opportunity for the striker, and this is a great look by her, playing it in between. So she plays her in between, striker opens up, and now that's a great look. Try to find that corner. I really appreciate the intention because you can clearly see we weren't looking just to hit it, but to actual finish it, right? And that could have been a nice goal, right? So now let's just go on to the next play. So now for this one, keeper has the ball over here in her hands. Now let's see what happens. Gets the ball to the winger. You almost lose the ball. Center defensive mid kicks that ball in the air. Okay, it's too sloppy on this one. The play is way too sloppy, and then we get it out, right? So now, before anything, right? Because out of this play, that's when we score. What I want you to see first, it's leading up to that pass into the middle, everything that could have happened that could have went better, right? So the moment right now, my keeper has the ball. My center defensive mid, look, she's running sideways, right? My center defensive mid on this side, they keep running sideways. Okay, Sadie, Maura, we keep running sideways. And look at my attacking mid, Anna. She's still running sideways. Look at my defensive mid, Claire, facing the ball. Winger running sideways. Outside back running sideways. Outside back running sideways, right? So the players that are actually ready to receive the ball are striker over here, striker over here, and attacking mid over. It's center defensive mid over here. Everybody else, it's running sideways in a position where it's so hard to receive the ball, right? So now, Sadie, Shannon, Paige, Anna, Maddie, right? We're running sideways, and we have we don't have an ability to receive the ball that way, right? So now on this one, right? Apart from running sideways, because we do it a lot. Notice that my center defensive mid should have recognized the space and made it easier for the keeper. Instead of the keeper finding the winger, I wanted to find the center defensive mid. So the center defensive mid, instead of getting closer to all the defenders, right, she should have got here in the space where the keeper could have played at the ball, and then we could have got the ball out cleaner. Instead, look where my holding mid is, right, in the attacking mid space, where she should have been right in front of here, the keeper, in between the three defenders where a ton of space, where the ton of space was, right? And instead, keeper has to make a harder play, finding the winger, and then we just slop it, right? So now this one again, right? That one touch, you could have received that ball and played it in the ground for the outside back. Outside back kind of deals with it. Plays the winger again. Winger plays the outside back. Winger gets wide, which is a good opportunity. Outside back didn't recognize the winger open again. Try to bounce it out, and now notice something again. My center defensive mate cannot receive the ball again. Guess why? Because she's sideways to the ball. So that's too hard to receive the ball in there. She has to be facing that play. That way, her receiving foot, it's in front of her plant foot. Now notice her plant foot is in front of the ball. Therefore, it's too hard to receive that ball. Look at her. We missed it. Now we got lucky that in the bounces, we get the ball. Now, everything starts from here, right? So the good thing is that right now, my center back has the ball facing the whole play. Great positioning by my holding mate because she's facing the ball in a position where she can open up in the space and go forward, right? So now let's see what happens now. Center back plays the ball to the holding mate in the space, which is great. Holding mate plays the winger. Winger opens up, plays the striker to feet. Striker opens up, finds the striker in between, and we poke it in. And as you can hear, we score. Right? So now, look, that only happened because we consistently found the space. And now this is the great thing about scoring a goal, right? Because a lot of good things happen, but a lot of good things happen because some of them were intentional and some of them happen by accident. But if we can make all these things happen intentionally, we're gonna be able to score a lot more, right? So the first great thing is my center back, patient with the ball, finds a great ball to the holding mid, which she realized where the defenders were and backed up in the space in a great position. And notice the way she was backing up in the space. Backing up in the space, right, which is a phenomenal play by my holding mid. And notice that my holding mid, it's facing the ball. It's not jogging away. It's not jogging sideways. It's facing the ball, which allows her to receive the ball comfortably, right? Notice that separation between all the three defenders, and in a great position to receive that ball. My holding mid on the other side shouldn't have been just jogging, should have been supporting the ball over here, right? Just in case my center back loses it or decides to play the opposite way. So we get the ball in there, and that one is a touch forward, but she could have opened up instead of using 2 touches. She could have used 1 touch to open up in that one. Notice that she takes an extra touch now to get out to her. But again, because of that first movement she made, she had enough time that she could have adjusted and played the winger into space. Now notice on this one, right? And this is what's interesting. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 5v3 right now, but even with the disadvantage, we managed to make a great play. So now on this one, right? My winger is by herself on against 1, 2, 3, 4 players. It's a 3v2 right now. And my winger, in that one, she shouldn't try to find the space because all these players are backed up. So my first striker, instead of keep running forward, should have stopped in there and received the ball to feed, right? Again, it happened by accident where my winger placed that ball. She meant the ball in the space, but then my striker stops to receive the ball. And notice that the two others are out, the center back and the outside back, are still running, thinking that the ball was going to play through. And then my striker, by coming to that ball, okay, gains a little bit of time and space. See, now with that little bit of time and space, notice that the run by the striker over here, it's phenomenal. But even better, the ball by, I believe that's Lilia, yeah, by the ball by my other striker, it's even better because she recognizes the space and plays the perfect ball in the space. Notice that she recognized the spacing between the center backs, and the striker is already making a good run, right? So that ball has to be clinical so that it doesn't get to the keeper and it can get to my striker before it gets to the keeper. So that's a great ball. Notice that my striker never stops her run. She keeps running, and then she holds the ball until it's the right time to release it. And now that ball in between the center backs leaves the 2 center backs out of the play and the outside back on the left side of the striker, and the striker on a 1v1 with the keeper. Now the best decision that the striker did in there was to poke it one time, and that's how he scored. Which is a great play. That's actually a great play by the guys that were involved in it, right? Now, let's watch the one last play for this clip. And I want you to pay attention to it because this is a good build-up but then the winger takes too long to recognize the next play. And okay, so now the ball right now is with my outside back over here, right? She's facing the center back and makes the right decision, I believe, right? Which is playing back to center back. Yes. Center back opens up, finds the center defensive mid, which should have been in a better position. Center mid finds the outside back. Outside back finds the winger with a ton of space again. My winger starts running forward. Finds the pass to Fee, but then again. Okay, so two things happen in this play, right? It's not only now that I actually look back at it again, right? It's not only the winger, but also the striker, right? The striker have to understand when do I make my run, when do I check to the ball, right? Now, on this one, right? Center back has the ball. In this one, the one thing that could have done, we could have been better, that could have been better, right? Is as the center back is getting the ball. Look, the ball is still traveling again, right? Look, I'm gonna point at the ball. Ball hasn't got to the center back yet, but look at my holding mitts. They're only watching the play. In this situation, as the ball is traveling to my center back, holding mitts should check their shoulders and kind of shift in to where the space is, farther away, even farther away from the three defenders, right? But by the time the ball gets to my, actually my holding me checks her shoulder. And I'm not sure why she stay in that position. Notice Claire right now, right? As the ball is getting to Emma, okay, I want you to see the way she checks her shoulder. She does checks her shoulder, which is phenomenal. Before Emma gets the ball, look at that. She checks her shoulder. Now she just stands there, but the gray, that's actually great. Look at the way she's checking her shoulder, understanding where pressure is. In that one, she should have came a little bit farther away from pressure. That way she could have opened up facing the whole field instead of playing it back to the outside back, right? So now she gets the ball, but she understands where pressure was. That's why she plays it one time to the outside back, which is a great play. Outside back gets the ball as he opens up. That's the right play. There's nobody marking the winger, so we play the winger on that play, right? Winger opens up. Now, winger with that amount of space should take, right? Winger starts taking the ball. The moment that the winger starts getting closed down by the player, the striker should know that if those guys are backing up and waiting, right? The play is not up, but the striker should just stop, right? And receive the ball in there. The other striker should keep running up, right? Instead of being in the same line, should keep running up, stretching the field. So now, notice that my striker keeps running up, but this one is the one that stops, and this one is the one that keeps running, right? So if this is the one that stopped, my winger should have recognized that the ball wasn't for the one running, but the one that stopped in middle of the play, right? Look how much space he has around it. So if the winger plays the ball to this guy and the other one keeps running, now that play would have been winger to second striker to first striker in the space, going to goal, right? Instead, make the wrong decision and we lose the ball, right? But it could have been a great attack. But keep in mind those plays in there, right? The decision making from the wingers, decision making from my strikers checking to the space or keep running into the space.